Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. You realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world. Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain clubrooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30pm local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
We're on. And this is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania with our DATV Experimenters Night. And I have a regular contributor, semi-regular contributor,
Sort of.
Alan VK7KAJ. Hello.
Hello, Justin.
How you
And
going?
greetings, Earthlings.
Yes. Well, we are experimenting and demonstrating the microwaves tonight.
Yeah. Yes, we're actually into SHF.
We are.
Just.
So, just remind
But
people.
it's good.
Oh, hey, it's we're there. We've got our microwave ovens all charged up and ready to go. No.
No, they're only UHF.
Well, they're more down near 23 centimetres actually. They're
Yeah.
closer to 23 centimetres than what we're going to be using tonight.
Yep.
So yes. So just a reminder, you can we're streaming on YouTube on the Reast YouTube chat channel, and the chat is open to people. Please, if you're watching, let us know you're watching, and if you've got any questions, please let us know. Last week, I featured a little black box, very similar actually, lots of cables and things, very similar to that. And there's another one. They're multiplying. But wait, they're multiplying. I featured this little box, which is a SG-Labs 3.4GHz Transverter. And I'll go through what all these connections and bits and pieces are. In fact, I didn't show you last week. The transverters come with a little PCB yagi antenna, which is very impressive little PCB yagi antenna. I'll just we'll head to where we're going to head. We'll head to here. This is a yagi. So these are the directors, down to the driven element, which is this on the back,
Both of them.
both of them, yes, correct actually. This is the ground side, and then on the other side there's a little tuned loop, a little hairpin that runs along the that little ground arrangement there, and then there is the reflector at the back, and a little SMA connector, and these yagis are supplied with the transverter. So fantastic little little antenna. If you've got the 23 centimeter version of the SG-Labs, they come with a little Moxon, I think, isn't it?
No. It's roughly the same as that without the directors.
Without the correct. That's
there,
right.
there are two versions though. The earlier ones were closer to, I think it's a W8JT or JX
Design.
Yep. It's a close coupled dipole.
Okay.
Or two dipoles. Yeah.
So
But the later ones are more like this.
yeah, okay.
Without the directors.
Without the directors, yeah.
Same feed arrangement, I think.
So anyway, that's you do get an antenna with your transverter.
So, so you've got something to play with because they're not exactly common antennas at this
correct.
frequency.
As you can see, the size of it. This is a Yagi antenna. So what I thought I would do is I printed out the little help sheet that is sent with the transverter, because it actually gives you some great little now, let me zoom in here a little bit. There we go. This is the specifications of the transverter, which I didn't show last week. So what you've got is for an input frequency for an IF of 420 to 450, it basically gives you 3380 to 3480. And so we're going to be using 431 tonight, and it's reasonably stable, reasonably accurate, but it does have, as I mentioned last week, the ability to inject a 10 meg GPS disciplined oscillator signal, so you can make it even more stable. It's got output power of about 2.5 to 3 watts for your nominal sort of 12 volts in. Current consumption at 12 volts is about 1.2 amps. And input power, so what you feed in at 70 centimeters, is about 0.2 of a watt up to a maximum of 5 watts. It's got some receive gain, which is adjustable, noise figure of about 1.3 dB, and that's about what's on there. Now, there are some, this is what I showed last time. So this was the inside. I actually had a picture of this that I showed. There are some jumpers that you actually need to set if you want to change the IF and a few other bits and pieces. You do also have the RX gain and TX gain, and I showed last week that I had drilled 2 strategically placed holes so that you could get to that with the top on. Now it shows here there are 2 little LEDs. These are fantastic little LEDs, because one is the input level. So this is the input on the 70 centimeter side, and the input level, it's a tricolour LED. So if it's green, the input level is spot on. If it's anything other than green, you probably want to work on it. And I'm going to be using one because the output from my handheld is obviously not quite enough, and so it's on amber, but it still seems to be okay. And then the other LED is a tricolour LED, which is the SWR of your 3.4 gig output. And so if it's green, fantastic. And with these little Yagi antennas, of course, it's green, because they're a very well matched little 3.4 gig arrangement. Now I'm not sure that there's anything else in here that I can show you. Oh, okay. These are the default LO frequencies and the alternate LO frequencies that you can set up on the jumpers. It shows you how the defaults and the defaults. I think we're set up for the defaults, aren't we? I haven't changed the jumpers.
I haven't changed. There's
So-
jumper. I don't. Yeah, it's no jumpers on. Which is,
off.
Yeah.
So we're at the 2968 to 2968 transmit and receive.
If you add 432 to that, you get 3.4 gig.
You're up at where we're transmitting. So yeah, there are some other jumpers in there. Power VTT, the detector, the Vox detector, and we are using the Vox detector on this because there's no push to talk in. There is the ability to put a push to talk input on here, but it's set internally so that it's on Vox. So when it receives RF, it starts transmitting, which is fantastic, really nice. And jumper 3, internal reference used or the external used. And then there's another LED. If it starts to blink in red, it means that the phase lock loop internally is actually unlocked. So it does give you a bit of an indication. So really easy to use. What we thought we would do is, given we have two of them, what I'll do is we'll do a bit of setup here. Make sure, actually, I'll put the antenna back on mine. Make sure that we're actually working. Now the question here is we probably should have changed the LO frequency, the IF frequencies to change them to different IF frequencies so that we know we're not working on the IF. That's a bit of a, in microwave circles, that's a bit of a contentious issue.
One of us should have changed the jumper.
Correct. But okay, for demonstration purposes,
we will assume that it works.
So one of the key little things here is you'll probably be able to see this. This is the LEDs just here. When you first plug it in, yeah, there we go. The red LED comes on for about 3 seconds and then goes off, which just it says that the little processor in here is all set up and everything's fine. And you'll notice if I switch this on that there we go, the two little LEDs come on. One is, the input is amber and the SWR is green. And Alan's just plugging his in. We'll just do a quick check here. Because on 3.4 gigs in the same room at about 3 watts, I'd be very surprised if
Yeah. Two groanings.
There we go, and
I suspect
I'm getting a signal. So yeah,
whether it's on 431 or
4
3.399.
3399.
Yeah, 3.3. Yeah.
Anyway, so what we thought we'd do is Alan will disappear off into the wild blue yonder.
That's why I've got a coat on for a change.
Yes, Alan's. This is quite a significant event. Alan has a top on rather than just a t-shirt. Given his Antarctic experience, he's someone who doesn't really feel the cold that much.
Yeah.
But anyway.
As I get older, I feel it more.
Okay. Now, I'm going to shoot to the end of proceedings here. I have a lot of videos on the Noyina.
Oh, okay. That's a big boat.
It's a very big boat, and it's on its. The Antarctic Division released a whole bunch of videos just recently, because it's on its way to us from the Netherlands, I think.
Yeah, I think that's where it left from.
Netherlands.
You know where it went today?
No.
I believe it crossed the equator today.
Oh!
Somebody at lunchtime said it crossed the equator today.
Now, there's a special thing that happens when the ships cross the equator.
Yeah, possibly.
What is it?
I don't know. I've never done it.
Oh, okay. You're supposed to do something.
I have crossed the 60 South one, and there's a similar one there.
Oh, okay.
King Neptune
Oh,
appears, and all sorts of strange things happen to people.
right. King Neptune appears with his trident.
Yeah, with his trident and his acolytes, and you
Right.
get inducted into, or not inducted into his kingdom, or wetdom, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Devotion.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yes, I have a certificate for it.
Oh, there you go. I'm very impressed.
Mm.
And good evening, Murray. Murray's on the chat. So hello, Murray. Hope you're doing okay. So good stuff. All right, Alan's going to disappear off, and I'll listen for a little while. See if we can't get some directivity. Maybe.
How far do you want me to go, and in which direction?
Well, just into the next room for starters. Because I am a little bit worried because the building here does have a vague Faraday cage in it. There's a lot of copper in the walls, and there's a wonderful copper earth mat out here, which Murray used in the Remembrance Day contest.
Mobile phones sort of works.
Yeah. So
We'll see what happens.
anyway,
So I'll go in that direction.
correct. Very good.
Oh, good heavens! It's a Roger.
It's a Roger.
Roger.
Roger. All right. So head out there, and I'll have a bit of a listen and see if we can't get some directivity actually happening. So
Try and get out of here.
we've got a fair bit of equipment all set up here. So anyway, so VK7KAJ, VK7 Tango Whiskey, you receiving? VK7KAJ, VK7 Tango Whiskey, you receiving? Oh, loud and clear, Alan. Loud and clear. How's the reception you're in?
No worries whatsoever at present. I might go outside now. It's very noisy in here.
Roger. Give us a call when you're outside and we'll see how we go.
Yeah, I'm aiming through Whiskey November's head at present.
There'll be a certain amount of attenuation then over.
Yeah, okay. We'll see you shortly.
Okay. So what we're using here is a 70 centimetre handheld. It's a T90A for those who know these. This is a little tri-band ICOM handheld, very nice little handheld on 6, 2 and 70. And just using it on 431 flat FM on low power. Now a high power doesn't change the amber lead, which is interesting. Just using it on the little yeah, VK7KAJ portable, VK7 OTC, loud and clear, and doesn't appear to be any effect in directivity. Alan, over.
Yes, I agree with that, Justin. I just did a quick 360 and it made virtually no difference. A little bit of noise off the side and that was about it. And actually it's quite nice out here now. Sky's clear, moon's up, Venus in one direction, Jupiter and Saturn in the other. A very nice night. Another car's just turned up. VK7 OTC, VK7KAJ.
Yeah, VK7KAJ, VK7 OTC. Yeah, full scan, 180 and 360. So yeah, and absolutely no difference to that. So if you're prepared to go a little bit further afield, we might see whether we can't get some directivity over.
Walking at present, with the beam pointed the wrong way, I'm outside onto the main loop road on the far side of the loop road that goes up around the clubhouse.
Yeah, Roger. Okay, well, absolutely no change, Alan. Absolutely no change. So there you go. Keep going if you're prepared to, and we'll see whether we can't change that. Over.
Yeah, I've headed off into the bush, going in that direction. I've got no idea what I'm walking on. It's clear down here, but it's steepish.
VK7KAJ, VK7 Tango Whiskey. Yeah, no problems at all. Absolutely no change. Little bit of noise there for a short while, but yeah, no change if I turned the beam away from you, Alan. So yeah, I think we might have saturation on 3.4 4 gigs over. Well, there you go, Alan, and still absolutely no change in directivity at 360 degrees. So so there you go, and good to confirm we're not on IF. Over.
Okay, I'm now walking roughly northwards around this walking track. So, yeah, to your right-hand side on the outside. So, yeah, I'm down a little bit. I can still see the lights of the clubhouse though. Still got the yagi roughly pointed in that direction. So, yeah. Oh, what?
I'll point it at you guys.
This is my first operation on SHF. VK7OTC, VK7KAJ.
Yeah, VK7KAJ, VK7 OTC. Now I'm pointed at you, and I'm now pointed away from you. So I'm not sure whether that made a scrap of difference. I'm now pointed at you. I'm now pointed at the mountain. I'm now pointed upwards, fully upwards, and I'm now pointed fully downwards. So not sure whether that made any change at all. Alan, over.
Yeah, I can hear it change slightly. I can get a bit of noise occasionally. I'm trying to be cross-polarised and everything else, but no, it's making no difference. I think we'd have to be a bit further apart. And who knows where these signals are bouncing around. Mobile phones work on reflections, and we're sort of in that region, a bit above. Gee, that road's a lot higher than I am at present. It's sort of where the car's parked, the lookout overlooking the northern areas of Hobart. VK7 OTC, VK7KAJ.
Yeah, VK7KAJ, VK7 OTC. Yep, no problems at all, Alan. Oh well, you can make your way back. On we'll maybe organise for a future ATV night where we make a little bit more distance or something. Maybe Mount Romney or something like that. Anyway. And Murray, yes, yeah, Murray. We've asked Alan to beam away from the clubhouse and beam in all directions, and makes very little difference. So I think we're near field. I think over.
Yeah, I think so. You know, the car park out to the right. Oh, now to the left as you drive around the loop. I'm on the walking track below that, so I've actually got the embankment between me and you, and makes not that much difference. I'm now got somebody shot in the head torch on me, probably wondering what I'm up to. Okay, well, head back. It's a lovely night out here, actually. Stars are quite nice. Should have brought the telescope. VK7OTC, VK7KAJ.
Yeah, VK7KAJ, VK7OTC, no problems at all. Yes, all right, no problems at all. Thanks for the test, Alan, and you're glad to be your first contact on SHF. So good stuff. We're pushing the microwave frequencies up. So good stuff. Just change the polarization there. Go to cross polarized. Go to vertical. And go to horizontal. So there you go. Anyway, thanks Alan. VK7KAJ, VK7OTC. Cheers.
Thank you, Justin. I've got the antenna down on the ground at present, down on the bottom of this embankment, and I can get used to be slightly noisy now. Okay, we'll see
Yes, and I can orient it so that you're noisy. So yeah, put something between us, and there you go. All right, thanks, Alan. We'll see you shortly. This is VK7OTC out on 3.4 gigs. And it does the power amplifier, which is on a strip down this side next to this output connector. That is it is getting a little bit warm as we transmit that 3 watts, and also the handheld is also getting quite a bit warm because it uses the die-cast case to as a heatsink for the PA. So anyway, it's getting warm, so that it's obviously doing something, and the contact with VK7KAJ there, and on 3.4 gigs, and his first 3.4 gig contact. So there you go. So a great little SG-Labs 3.4 gig transverter, and the antenna that comes with it. That is literally straight out of the box, apart from me drilling some holes in it and putting some labels on it. But anyway, with a 70 centimeter FM handheld, and you've got yourself a 3.4 gig setup. So so there you go. And we'll see whether we can't organise some slightly better tests with some maybe with some directional antennas and the like, and see over a longer distance, and see whether we can't check 3.4 gigs over a bit of a longer distance. So yeah. Anyway, that's the 3.4 gig SG-Labs. Now. What I've got, just hold that thought, I'll just put this away and I'll grab something out of my my box of tricks. Now, I've got this segment labelled NBN Recycling. For those who may have seen these, you may have seen these sitting on the road, or you may have seen these cable tied to a to a bit of fibre or a bit of cable. These are NBN cable tags. They've got two little holes that you cable tie to they cable tie them to the fibre or the cable that they're wanting to identify. You can stick labels in here, or you can write on here. Now, what's happening around Hobart is the NBN installations are old enough that the cable ties are starting to break, and I'm finding these sitting on the ground. I'm finding these in gutters and all sorts of stuff, and I pick them up because one of the key things about thank you, Alan.
You're welcome.
One of the key things you can use these for is to label your coaxes in the shack, which is exactly what I use them for. And you can see there's two cable ties, 2 metre ground plane on the back chimney, and there's the 1296 19 element yagi towards Mount Wellington. That's that bit of coax. So you can see that you can use these to label your coaxes or cables in nice big letters with two cable ties, and given that they're inside, you're not going to end up with them failing because because the UV is getting to the cable ties. So they are well and truly worth picking up. And if you see them on the ground, don't leave them on the ground. Grab them, and you've got yourself some fantastic little cable labels. So there you go. Now, what I thought I'd do is just show you. We had a bit of a feature last week on the Hermes Lite SDR. So just a little bit of a refresh, and what I can do here is just now let's go to there, and what I can then do is move this other camera down so that we can, and we'd go moving down. Okay, so just as a recap, this is the Hermes Lite SDR, software defined radio. You can see it is merrily buzzing away. Power connector, gigabit Ethernet, you've got status LEDs, you've got input and output frequencies, so for the coherent modes. On the back, you've got your push to talk, your RF for your transverter, so low output RF, and also your TX RX, which is the 5 watt output. And to give you an example of the size, it's about the size of my hand. That is currently connected up to the SDR console, and what I will do is set up. Okay, SDR console. When it starts up, you can see start, and we've got it on the HF antenna. So SDR console was, I gave you a bit of a view last time. It gives you the ability to change the frequencies here by rolling the mouse ball. You can very quickly move to all the different. Ooh, there goes a radar signal across the band. But you can very quickly move to different frequencies. There's the S meter up here. You can select the S meter, how you want to represent the S meter in S units, dB microvolts or dB dBm. You can select the mode here, or the IF display. Hang on, I've got. Okay, yes. I'll reply to that in a minute. You've got the filters, so there's a whole lot of digital filters that are available. That's the bandwidth, the AGC, CW, the noise filters. This is on the noise filter 4, which is the most the best one. If I switch all that off, suddenly the noise comes up. Noise filter, noise reduction 4, AGC settings, noise blanker settings. Oh, hang on, I just flicked off of it. Just let me get back there. That's better. 690, I think, was what they were on. I'll come back in a sec. And there's a whole lot of, you've got the ability to set bandwidth, you've got the ability to do calibration. They're doing antenna checks right at the moment. On the actual screen, now this is really, really handy, especially when you're contesting, to have the time up here. You can set the time to local or UTC. The frequencies you're on and the span that you're looking at, and then there's a whole lot of SDR settings over here, which are just available to you and readily. Now, this little slider down the bottom it relates to the waterfall, and enables you to just highlight or change the colour arrangement. You can, through settings up in the menus, change the colour settings on the waterfall and also on the spectrum display. There is a whole lot of ways of there is smoothing on the spectrum display. There is the memory, which you can see. It's just a phantom line that stays there for a little while, so it just gives you an idea about where those signals actually are. There's the ability to bring up a DX cluster window. Signal history, that's the this gives you it over a 30-second period, so you can see if there is a signal you missed. The receive, there is the ability to go into multiple receivers, which we went into last week. You can have, with this particular gateware on the Hermes Lite, up to 6 separate receivers all running at the same time. And there is gateware around that enables you to run 9 if you really want to. Different modes and different settings, equalizer settings, bring up a keyboard so you can bring up a keyboard and set the frequency there if you haven't got a keyboard available to you. Transmit, there's a couple of settings here, setting the Vox, going into tune, the equalizer, the parametric and symmetric correction that you can do, setting the DSP settings, record playback so you can record and play. There's a whole lot of favourites in here which take you to your favourite emitter frequency, and then there's a whole lot of memories that you can plonk in here, so you can just literally go straight to memories and your favourite frequencies, etc., etc. So that's SDR console that's available for the that is available for a whole bunch of SDRs. One of which is the Hermes Lite, and it really nicely interfaces with the Hermes Lite. Everything happens and it just works really, really nicely. So the other one I wanted to show you is there's another one called Spark SDR. Now Spark SDR, this is the interface. You can run. You can see it's got Hermes Lite up here. If you're running RTO SDRs or whatever else that are available on the machine, it comes up with those, so you can swap between them, switch them on and off. Very similar frequency display here. You can set the frequency by just running the thumb wheel. A lot of the settings you can see. Frequency display, you can set filters, and again you roll the mouse for the upper and lower filters. Compression, AGC, you can switch these things on and off, the attack and hold and decay and threshold. Vox you can switch on and off, and the settings come up. Noise reduction you can switch on, and that's a mouse wheel setting. There the drive for the transmitter, so this is a transceiver, it's a full transceiver. You can set the mode here. You can, oh hang on, I've switched Vox on. That was switching on and off for my voice, which is not good. There's your meters, so your SWR meter up here. Maximum off, I actually don't know what that means. Switch to GP7. There's some telemetry that's coming out of the HP SDR. Push to talk, tune, the drive levels, the volume. We can turn the volume up here. So it's a little bit of a different interface here. DX cluster, you've got a street map up here. You've also got notes that you can put against particular memories. It's the same thing, the memories. You've got the ability to do a whole lot of setup in here, bits about the station, your locator, etc. Show on the map, show the map, don't show the map, summary waterfalls, logging. So if you're using WSJT with it, it automatically goes to that for logging. If you've got MIDI interface, PSK, you've got the ability to set up some things. CW, you've got the ability to set up the Parrots audio. This is the equalizer, and WebSockets if you're using other remote servers and all sorts of things. So there's quite a bit in here. It's got a bit of a different interface. You have to get a little bit used to it. Personally, I like the SDR console a little bit better. There is another one called Quisk, which is all Python based. Now, I ran out of time setting Quisk up here, but maybe we'll do that next time. But that's also a freeware arrangement. A little bit trickier to set up, but certainly works very nicely with the Hermes Lite. But SDR console, I think is probably one of the better ways to drive the HP SDR. So I'll turn that down a little bit. Let's just see whether we can't find some other signals here. Oh, there's a CW signal. VK4s on 80 metres. Let's keep going. Let's see whether we can't find somebody else. I could go to 40 metres, but all we're going to get's probably Indonesian. There we go. Ah. That's a digital mode. Now, I think that might be our friends up north with their slow Morse practice. So, No. Anyway, I'm showing my lack of practice with CW here. Anyway, that's the HP SDR on the Hermes Lite, sorry, which has what am I trying to say? The Hermes Lite, which comes from the HP SDR stable. That's what I'm trying to say. That's definitely what I'm trying to say. So yeah, it's the Hermes Lite and SDR, and I'll be doing a little bit more playing with that. I have been using it on Whisper quite a bit. It's replaced one of the HP SDRs at home on Whisper on 630 meters. So it's working admirably in that space, and I'm also using the 5-watt PA for 630 meters, which I'm back transmitting on 630 meters. So there you go. Now the next thing I was going to give you a bit of a view of is, and this comes from Richard Rogers. You can see VK7RO written at the top of it. 100 basic electronic projects. And the thing that caught my eye was, it comes from the WIA New South Wales Education Service Publication Division. So this is September 1982. out of the WIA New South Wales Division and the Youth Radio Service, Education Service publication from Ian Hook and Dave Wilson. 100 basic electronic projects. Some fascinating projects in here, some simple little projects, and also it's quite interesting that there is a bit of a Doctor Who theme going on here, because every so often you find the Doctor Who switch maze, a maze made from switches, and this circuit makes a fine game. It looks so easy to throw the switches and light the safe LED, but one wrong switch and the exterminate LED glows. So I love it. There are also some RF projects in here. There's a diode receiver, so crystal receiver, and then we go on to a multi-tap diode receiver, so a slightly more sophisticated version, a voltage multiplier diode receiver, a one-stage mixer, recording pickup, a sonic screwdriver, so we're back to the Doctor Who theme, a Dalek bomb, using a gravity switch controlling a buzzer and a LED. So this is a mercury switch that when you change the orientation of the switch, it makes and breaks the contacts with mercury. So I don't even know whether they still sell them, given the state of mercury, and it's probably not a good little switch. Regenerative one-stage receiver, so another RF project. The fuzz box for your electric guitar. A FET receiver, a super FET receiver, etc. So there are all sorts of wonderful. A 144 meg sniffer and an AM transmitter across here, a little low power AM transmitter. An oscillator, basic power supply, a CB and amateur receiver. So listen to the 11 to 35 megahertz short wave band. So using a BC108 and a germanium signal diode, and a set of crystal headphones. So there you go. Beat frequency oscillator. So you can then pick up sideband, single sideband signals on your AM receiver. Metal detectors, decision maker, a don't touch box, LED flasher. This is starting to get into ICs, the LM3903, and op amps 741s. Bit of Logic's CD CMOS 4001. Gates, so there you go. A 555 timer. Music from your lawn with the LM380. So what you do is you inject into your lawn, use the lawn as a medium, and then you've got two posts into an op amp, and you can receive what you're injecting into the lawn. So interesting ideas. CMOS phone bell, two-tone doorbell, hazard warning, high power intercom using an LM380 op amp audio amplifier. I've used LM380s quite a bit as the audio amplifier stage. Electronic dice using a 4017, so a decade counter and a 555 as the astable oscillator to give you the clock signal for the decade count. Oh my goodness. It's all coming back to me. 100 heartbeat monitor. So it allows you to listen to your heartbeat. It's a very high gain, low frequency preamplifier. So there you go, using a 741 op amp. But anyway, absolutely fascinating. And I know Peter Parker has featured some of the active electronics and the old Dick Smith books on their kits. So I thought I'd show the WIA education and the youth radio service from the New South Wales WIA division. So absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. All right. Just a reminder, today, if you're a Reast member, you would have got an email which was really well put together by David VK7DMG about today, the 15th of September, is the Memorial Day for the Battle of Britain. And David put together a great little email around the role of radio in the Battle of Britain, because there's quite a bit of things that aren't well known about how radio was used in the Spitfires and in the Lancaster bombers. And David put together a little, being the aviator he is, put together a little great little memorial tribute email to the Battle of Britain. So great stuff. Thank you, David. Now, a reminder: our October presentation day. Sorry, it's not the night. It's on Sunday, the 3rd of October. So at the beginning of October. It's after the broadcast. We have a barbecue, BYO barbecue up here, and then Peter VK7KPC and Kim VK7KB puts on a presentation around military radios. They're both collectors of military radios and the antennas. And the reason we're doing it during the day is they want to actually set up the antennas and the radios and show you how they actually work out in the compound. And you can have a go on them and see how they actually operate. So should be a good day. And then our November presentation night, which it is, on Wednesday the 3rd of November, all about digital hotspots. Digital hotspots can be a bit tricky to set up if you're not quite aware of how to which gateways you've got to connect to and what you've got to do to get them to come out on your digital handheld. So Scott VK7HSE is going to give us a bit of a talk focused on the Pi-Star and the OpenSpot 3 hotspots, but the information that he's actually going to be covering is still relevant for other hotspots. So that's Wednesday the 3rd of November, 7:30 up here at the Queen's Domain, and we'll be streaming that particular presentation along with the October military radio. We'll have a bit of an open broadcast going on out in the paddock, so you'll be able to see what's going on. So there you go. Now our videos tonight are a bit of a focus on the Noyina, which is the new icebreaker, Antarctic Division icebreaker, which is currently making its way to us here in Hobart from the Netherlands, from Holland, where it's been handed over to the Antarctic Division and the group that's going to be looking after it. So there's I think there's four videos which have just recently been released by the Antarctic Division for our RF viewers. And then a bit of a thing on the man who saved Britain, which is a bit of a documentary around the Battle of Britain. So that's for our RF viewers. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you got something out of tonight, whether it's microwaves or it's SDRs or what it is. And please, if you've got a particular subject that you'd like a presentation on, or you'd even better, you'd like to come up and give a presentation and show what you've been up to in amateur radio, please let me know, and you can by all means come up and we'll make space in the OTV night, so you can show people what you've been up to. Now, before I go, I want, if Richard VK7ZBX is out in the club rooms, I'll just call VK7ZBX into the studio, because I think Richard has some very interesting certificates that he has brought up, very historic certificates that he has brought up. So Richard, if you're hearing this, Richard VK7ZBX, this is VK7OTC calling you to the club rooms. Just stand by. I think I'm going to have to go and see, go and get him. just stand by, and we'll. Oh yes, you. you.
There's my name mentioned.
He was listening. Come in. Come in. Now just make your way around all of the wires and occupational health and safety hazards and all of that sort of stuff. So,
Thank you.
Richard, VK7ZBX, how you going?
I am very good.
You had a good week?
Very good.
Living the dream.
Living the damn dream, yes.
Now,
Put that down.
now, Richard, in our committee meeting last night,
Yes.
it was only last night, it seems like a week ago, but anyway,
That's somewhat a little while ago.
showed some very interesting certificates. And I said, bring them up.
Yes, you did. So there's one.
These are look at
Sorry
this.
for that. Sorry for
The glare? No, we can
Oh,
we can get over that. Now, look at this, 1998.
that. Yes.
And he came first place in the VHF phone section with 200 points.
200 points.
I
Which was
love
pretty
it.
good effort. And I think it was only 2 metres and 70 centimetres. So,
There you go. I love it.
yeah.
1998 seems like well, last century really.
A day or two ago, yes. My goodness.
That is fantastic. And now what's the
So the other one's a year later.
Oh, okay. Oh, look at this, 248 points.
That was in the VHF open section. Because in the day,
VHF phone. Oh, okay. Hang on. So VHF open section.
yeah.
And 248 points. So what was the difference between the phone and the open?
I believe you could do RITI.
Ah, digital modes.
And I don't know whether we actually made any RITI content. I certainly remember a fateful attempt that we did with a few of us, myself and Murray and Ben, and we were going to set the world on fire one year with RITI, and yeah, we lost the plot.
Now was that RITI using a computer, or was that RITI using an actual teletype?
Yes, there was a couple of each, and it was the old ones I think ended up better because
That they worked.
I think the technology worked. We were just trying to actually work out, because of course we didn't practice because why would you?
Prepare? What?
Keyword. And we found that having sort of QSOs on RITI was quite difficult. But
Yeah. Okay.
no, so that was.
I recognise that name, Ian Godsall. So, who's still around, I think. Ian Godsall is still around, I think. So,
Well, the guy Alan,
I recognise that name.
Alan, that's the contest manager now. He there was a thing on Facebook the other day. He won some award for some contests.
Oh, okay.
Because the Oceania thing's on in a couple of weeks, isn't it?
It is, well and truly. And in fact, I have been watching the, just talk among yourselves, because it has to be getting VK log checker. It has to be getting
Oh, close to
awfully close to the release of the WIA.
Normally we get an email first with the provisional results, don't we?
Ah, yes, you're right.
We normally get a provisional one, and then if not so many people go, oh, hang on a minute, you got that wrong. I think
Yeah, no, that wasn't right. No,
Just appears.
Well, that wasn't. Oh, no, that wasn't right, was it? That was bad.
Not sure where you are there. In the dark web there, I think.
Yes. I'm just. Here we go. Logger home. I'm just trying to wend my. Oh, there it is. No, it's still. Yes. Okay. We still don't have any C results. Button.
But 300, was it 330 logs or something? Was it?
Correct.
That's a pretty good.
That's fantastic. 310 logs
310,
received.
yeah.
So absolutely fantastic. So if nothing else, I hope that that VK7's been able to encourage other states
I was looking at some old AR magazines, and I'm sure there was a VK7 NET one in 2012.
NET. I was going to say that's Scott. No, that's NWT. NET.
Well, I looked back through a few of the old
was.
results, and I think the only call signs I saw in any of those contests were yourself. I think Steve, RM, I think, featured on a couple. But yeah, so.
I love it.
In fact, I noticed there was a post on Facebook the other day about the Ross Hull.
Oh, yes.
And there was a comment there about haven't seen anything from VK7. I'm like,
Yeah. Now the Ross Hull, I'm actually on a group. I don't know whether I should be saying this or not, but anyway, I'm on a group that's looking at the revision of the Ross Hull contest arrangements.
it is quite a complex beast.
And there's lots of examples that were actually put forward by Alan, which great examples where they're VHF, UHF contests in the UK and a few others, which are very similar in style, but they're shorter contests. It's not over.
I think there's a bit been going on lately with in the UK on 10 gig, because I'm in the UK microwave group, and there's been a whole flurry of activity with them working across
Okay.
the channel and stuff on 10 gig, which has all been pretty exciting for them.
Well, they're open.
They work like 100 countries in an afternoon
Oh,
on
no.
10 gigs, like
Well.
nice. We get excited if we can work Launceston.
Correct. In the same country. And like, hey, you get really excited when Rex does New Zealand.
Drive up and
works
down.
New Zealand.
Some of us have tried, but that's a story.
That is fantastic, Richard. That is really.
Yeah, I was cleaning out
really,
some stuff
really
at home
good.
and found those and thought I should laminate them. I thought it's worth.
And I tell you what, first 2 years running, that's pretty cool. That's very cool, actually. That's
I can't even remember, because it was a little while ago, the actual reason of having a crack at it. Because normally the contest is one of those things that normally there's a bit of friendly rivalry between people, or someone goes, "Oh, I'll have a bit of a go at doing this." Like, I can't really quite remember who or why, but that was good fun.
Do you remember the equipment that you were using? Would have been using?
It probably would have been. Oh, actually, no. I said it was probably my Yaesu 736.
7036.
Yep. So it would have been 6.2 and 70. I might have fibbed. But
And in 1998, the 736 was just the bee's knees.
with these knees, I think I bought it in 1984. With a 6.2 and 70 modules in it, and then came by a 1296 module, which was probably way too much. But like, you look at what you paid for radio gear back then compared to what you earned, and
Off
like
the
the
show.
capability of stuff now.
Yeah.
Like, look at a 9700. Wow.
Yeah. Have a look at those EA magazines and silicon chip magazines back at this sort of time, and the ads from
Computers.
Dick Smith Electronics when they were the Yaesu dealers.
Well, I bought my 736 off Dick Smith.
There you go. So, in fact, I remember buying
I bought a 290R off Dick
yeah,
Smith.
and I bought a 6 metre half wave vertical off them. That was, I think, the last thing I bought from them. Anyway, there you go. I love it. That is fantastic, Richard.
Very good.
And first 2 years in a row, bloody fantastic.
I'll be happy with that.
Yep.
Yeah, we're sharing it about a bit. Which is
You
good.
got to be.
As long as it's got
correct.
VK7 at the start, it's all good.
Correct. This is when they wrote
Yeah,
with
the call sign.
with
a calligraphy pen.
fountain pen or whatever. Oh no, very good, excellent. Now, how's the 1.8 metre disc going?
It's going really well. I haven't actually decoded anything off the moon yet. I do believe that's due to fat finger syndrome.
Oh, okay.
When I first had a crack at it, I was receiving lots of stuff on the waterfall,
Okay.
and wasn't getting any decodes. And of course you start second guessing yourself like, oh, you know,
Timing.
and modes
GPSTO.
and blah. But as Rex dutifully pointed out, he goes, if you're seeing stuff on the waterfall, then a lot of boxes become ticked. Like you're on the right frequency, you've got the right Doppler, blah blah blah. We do believe when I forwarded the files to Rex, he said, yeah, they're all 15-second files. So I fear there might have been some fat fingers at play that might have had WSJTX set to 15 seconds instead of 60. So
I tell you what, if you had a decoder at 15, that'd be pretty impressive.
look, I think based on the signals that I was seeing, I would have, because it was as clear on the waterfall.
Yeah. Okay. So if they were 15,
if they were sending
period,
15 seconds, I would have. Then I made a few modifications to the frame. I got some pneumatic wheels because I don't know whether I showed you the photo where it was over in my garden or over in my lawn. And it's got 75mm hard plastic casters. I got it over there and jacked it up, got it all nice and level. But there was a bit of fun actually getting it out because it was quite moist and it sunk in. And there was lots of fairly adventurous Greek words being used. So I decided to get some pneumatic tyres, some pneumatic casters. They're 8-inch diameter.
Larger. Yeah.
So I extended the feet because obviously if they spin around, they hit the rest of the frame.
Yeah.
So I've extended the legs and gone from 3 jack screws to 4.
Okay.
Even though it's probably not ideal, you've just got to be regimented when you actually level it. So anyway, so I set it up the other night and...
A lot of surveyors would say, good luck.
So I set up the last Sunday night, possibly foolishly being a school night and all. An acquisition for the window to see the beacon was midnight. So I set it all up outside and it was quite a clear night, could see the moon and got 0 decodes, didn't see anything. So, but the moon was down quite, I think it was 21 degrees south of declination, so it's a fair way down.
South. Yeah. Okay.
So I think possibly the beacon wasn't on.
Okay.
Probably looking through a little bit of trees, like.
Yeah,
so,
noise.
So we're going to reconvene. I'm going to lengthen some cables and play with some things.
Okay.
And probably not this weekend, but next weekend.
Okay.
Do some tests with Rex, like terrestrially,
Yep.
and then have another crack at the beacon. So, but it tracked really quite well. I think it maintained the crosshairs of the rifle scope once calibrated in the centre for about an hour.
Hey.
So.
Can't complain about that.
And there's been lots of experimenting done, and Rex has received from the guys we've been working with in the States some really quite intense mathematics based on, you can calculate the amount of error that you will have of the perpendicularity of the vertical axis. The amount of error that you've got on that, you can calculate the maximum error you will have in azimuth based on different levels of elevation. So obviously as you get higher, the accuracy
So
will
you
get
can
worse.
do a compensation chart.
Yes, and he sort of said, even though this gentleman said it'd be relatively simple to do, maybe for him, but the K3NG does have the ability to have like an offset chart in it. But I think even though we're hams and we like to do stuff as best we can, I think you've sometimes got to be a bit practical and go, well, we can track a 1.8 metre dish on the moon for an hour without having to touch it.
Well, and then recalibrate.
It's a pretty damn good start.
Do it for another hour and then recalibrate for another hour.
and it's really surprising how well it worked. Like you can, with just using a meter, you can calibrate it to the sun.
Yep.
Because it's got 12 dB sun noise. You can see that really quite
well
nicely.
Well and truly.
But there's only just under 1 dB of moon noise, so it's a bit harder to see on
When
any sort of
everything's
meter.
going for you. Yeah.
That's right. So, but look, we're getting there.
Okay.
Hopefully there'll be some video in the next couple of weeks of some success.
Fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and the next thing is contacts coming from all over the world.
Yeah.
Flipping heck. So, and your contact with Botswana?
Yeah, that was when HB9Q and his guys went to Botswana. That was pretty exciting.
And you got your flip out.
Yeah, a little 3-section QSL card, which I should bring in. It's really quite flash. When Dan and his boys do a DXpedition and they do QSL cards, boy do they do QSL cards. It's pretty flash.
So when was that de-expedition? When are we talking?
6 months ago, it's a fair while ago.
So still in COVID.
Oh, I think it might have been. Yeah, oh,
What's
maybe
wrong?
it was, yeah, it was.
I listened to a podcast this morning that was talking about the COVAX and getting vaccines to those countries. And if you look at the stats, most African nations have the worst vaccination rates right at the moment, which is a bit scary.
Look, I was, when you look at on Dan's site, there's lots of videos and pictures of all these de-expeditions, and like I said earlier, you can't help but be impressed at like the military sort of precision of like the whole process of like, you know,
Yep.
there's a bunch of guys that do the 2 metre EME stuff, and there's a bunch of guys that do the 70 centimetre, and that's all just, you know, packed in road cases and done with like military precision.
Yeah. Very
No half-heartedness going on there, that's for sure.
Impressive setup. So,
But yeah.
okay. Well, that's fantastic. Oh, hang on.
Comments?
Hayden? Hello, Hayden. Sorry, I haven't been watching the chat.
Living the dream.
Back when there was a VHF section, that's right. I love it.
I've got a funny feeling that this might have been the time maybe that I met Mr. Murray.
Ah, there you go.
It could well have been about that time.
And Murray, is that, if you're still watching, is that, you get an original if you get a podium finish. There you go.
Yeah.
Scoop, I'll be interviewing Dick in November. There you go. Now, Murray, was that where Tricky met you in the VHF the VHF
Might have been about
contest?
that sort of time frame.
Yeah, well, there you go. This might have been a match made in microwave heaven.
Because, you know, 15 years ago sort of was the when we sort of started the business that we work for, so
There you go.
it was probably a little bit of time before that. But yeah,
There you go.
I'm sure Murray has been involved in having contests sort of before this.
Oh. As in, oh. Yes.
Roger that.
Yeah, Murray, that message was held, I think because it had that word in it. Early Tasmanet days. That's exactly right, Hayden. Spot
Yes.
on. So there you go.
Yeah, I think it
About
would have
then
been.
tricky. There you
Yeah,
go.
I think it would have been then, because as I said to you, Justin, there would have been some impetus to actually do that. Like, come on, let's have a crack at doing that.
Let's have a crack at the VHF contest
And,
on the Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
Well and truly.
So,
Oh no, good stuff.
and good work on your 3.4. Hopefully we can. Let's start a 3.4 gig net, eh?
Hey, well and truly. Well, I'm wanting to see how well it bounces off the mountain.
I think you'll be impressed. Rex and I were only talking there about the early days of when I first got 10 gigs. I had the horn with the aperture of, 4 inches square
Yeah.
with 250 milliwatts and full quieting on FM to Rex's place. And that's certainly not line of sight.
There you go.
So I think
I love it.
3.4 would be great.
I absolutely love it. We'll get the grid packs and we'll just.
We've only got to have 9 on 9. Nine people.
That's much better.
Much better odds, isn't it?
9 on 9. I
So
love
for
it.
10 gigs, we don't need to have 3 on 3. So
Yeah,
it's all-
hey.
We got that.
Well, we got that. We do have that. See, there you go. Oh, I love it.
Good stuff.
Very good. All right. Well, we'll call it quits at that, and we'll get on with our videos for our RF viewers. So thank you for those viewers out there. Thank you to Murray and Hayden. Thank you for being on the chat, and hope you got some laughs out of tonight. So good stuff. Thank you, Richard.
No worries, thanks, Josh.
All right, we'll catch you later. Just got to catch up with those grids. Yeah, if they ever turn up. That's exactly right, Hayden. All right. Rex might be able to build one for you. Well, yeah. Actually, we can probably use the 1.2.
1.8. We got a segment of one over here.
But the 1.2, the grid packed antennas that we converted to 1.2. Hey, we can probably use them on 3.4 as well, with the suitable little dipole at the end of them. So.
Yeah, well, Hayden and I have modded a couple of the old 6 gig 1.2 metre dishes for that, but yeah, the others.
Hey.
We might be able to find some other panels too that were previously used on
Well,
commercial 3.4 gigahertz band.
I was in the first instance. I was going to use the panels off the
Off the
Geelong
guard panels, yep.
So anyway, that was the first. But anyway, all right. That's enough of that. We can go on for ages. We'll catch you next time. 73.
73.